Things are good with me. And even when they're not, they will be soon enough. And I will believe the same about you. That's the last words of this beautiful book. Can I read it again? Things are good with me. And even when they're not, they will be soon enough. And I believe the same about you. Hello, my wonderful friends. Meg is here on a beautiful day. Welcome back to the library. So much I want to talk about. I'll try to make it quick. I don't want to waste your time, but I don't want to miss one bit of goodness. So will you please do me a favor? Just give me a chance to flip through here and bring out the richness and the beauty and the wisdom that's in this book. We spent all this time in it. Give me maybe 10 minutes to just dig it out. You know, another thing real quick. Looks like we're probably going to hit 10,000 subscribers today. And it actually made me a little emotional. I didn't think it was going to because I was almost a little bitter as I saw us about to hit that because I've been doing this a long time and I thought I'd do it like in my first year. I thought I was going to have millions of subscribers. And here we are 8 years into it and we're just hitting 10,000. But I'm still overwhelmed with gratitude and my stomach gets all butterflies and I'm excited, and so what I thought I'd do is later today, if we hit that mark, I'll play my very first video I ever put out. And it was kind of fun. I was just looking at it as I was thinking about this and I was different. My personality, my beard hadn't gone gray yet, but the message, the message has always been in all the videos and you'll see that. Okay, so this, it's a coming of age story, isn't it? And so we might think, why does it appeal to me and you, that are older? I'm 53. Why did this hit so hard? Why did I get emotional reading this? And I think what it is it took me back to this time. This is high school, college age characters. And I'm looking at it with my adult reasoning now. And it's like shadow work. Things that I didn't want to think back and remember, I had kept kind of buried, repressed it. And I think as we saw from Charlie, burying your feelings and emotions doesn't work for long. They will come up. I think of Carl Jung, the greatest psychiatrist ever. He said, what's buried in your subconscious, it's going to come up. And matter of fact, you can even know what your future is going to be if you can know your subconscious. Because what's in your subconscious mind is your future. So you want to make sure you're holding good things, not trouble, right? Not horror, not distress. And those things, even though you think you have it buried, it brings dis-ease in many ways. And so as we're reading things like this, and it's a little uncomfortable, we didn't agree that we were going to do psychotherapy. We didn't agree that we were going to dive into our heart of hearts and bring up these wounds that we had from childhood that we wanted to forget. But nonetheless, this author took us there. And I'm so glad he did, because now I have an adult mind that I can look at these things and reason. And I can forgive those who never asked for forgiveness. I can forgive myself. I love you, Magus. We screwed up there. We were young. We were dumb. We were selfish. I forgive you. I love you. Yeah, have you ever done that? Just look in the mirror and say, I love you. Look in your eyes until you mean it. It's healing. At first, you might be thinking, I hate you. Right? You might say, I love you, and think, I don't believe that. You might say, look in your eyes, say, I love you, and you get uncomfortable and want to look away. You got to keep doing it till you can see the good in you. Because I'm going to tell you a little secret. Many of you probably know this. You can never love someone else until you love yourself. You can never love anyone else, a spouse, a child, a friend, until you can love yourself. You'll only be able to give them as much love as you have for yourself. It's a horrible thing to cut yourself off like that. How lucky are we? We got to delve into these situations. He took us back. Almost everything that Charlie and these characters went through, we felt and went through at different times. And now we can look at it with that adult reasoning and look at every situation. And I found myself doing that as I'm reading about Charlie and his situation. It would take me back. I got lost in my own imagination and mind thinking about, I could picture, my God, I could smell the room in the high school. I could see the kid's face. It all became so vivid and so real, and it was kind of uncomfortable. But I worked through it. I thought about it. That where I made wrong decisions, I thought, here's what I would have done different if I could go back in time. It's beautiful. It's healing. What a gift reading is. You know, I think about, of course, I'm always thinking about the picture of Dorian Gray, Oscar Wilde there. But he said, you know, words. Is there anything more terrible than words? Right, as we read these things, how can it bring up all this emotion? You guys are telling me, Megas, I'm getting post-traumatic stress. I'm getting overwhelmed. That's okay. That's okay. I was too. But we can get through it. And I think that was the theme of this. We can get through it. We've got through things before. We'll get through them again. We're going to heal. We're going to do better. We're going to be better. We're going to pass on these lessons we learned to the generations to come. Maybe someone will be brought into our life and we can share these little nuggets that make their life better, make this world better. And isn't it deep inside? I think a lot of us, we want that. We want to know that our life made a difference. We made life a little better for someone else. We added a little bit of brightness and lightness and beauty to this world. All right. Let's get into it here. I'm going to hit up some of my highlights. When Bill gave him the book Fountainhead, I loved what he said here. He said, be skeptical about this. It's a great book, but try to be a filter and not a sponge. That is beautiful advice. Filter, think. Don't just take in everything. Be able to look at everything and see what's for you and what's not for you, and be able to think about it. Why is that for me? Why is that not for me? Right? Be able to reason it, understand, know yourself, know what you're reading. Why do you believe that? Is it because someone taught you to believe, to think about a certain situation, or is it what you truly believe? Have you thought about it for yourself? Right? You get a book and you take what's good and you leave what's bad. You eat the meat and you spit out the bones. You know, there's some people, especially raised in different religions, you just eat everything. They give to you bones, claws, beaks, and all, and don't you question. And then I think the author was hitting on that because the very next paragraph, he's talking about, he said, I almost didn't get an A in math. But then Mr. Carlo told me to stop asking why. That rubs me the wrong way. Teacher tells him, stop asking why. Almost didn't get an A because he asked why too much. He says, just follow the formulas. So I did. And now I get perfect scores on all my tests. I just wish I knew what the formulas did. I honestly have no idea. That bothers me so much about education. And I brought this up with my son's teacher because that's exactly what my son was dealing with. He wanted to know the whys behind things, right? And so at the parent-teacher conference, and the teacher basically told me he don't need to know the whys. He just needs to do what he's told. And I just looked at him like, you sorry son of a bitch. And that's not a good teacher. That's why I love Bill so much in this book. Why aren't there more Bills in teaching? Why are there too many Mr. Carlos? Right? Just do what you're told. Don't ask questions. I almost went off on a religious rant, but let's keep going. Oh, let's see here. I love this part right here. This is kind of the beauty. Even with all the hard things in the book, there's these beautiful things in the book, and this is one of them. And we were looking up that hill, and then Patrick started running after the sunset, and Sam immediately followed him. And I saw them in silhouette running after the sun. Then I started running, and everything was as good as it could be. Oh, after I read it, that's one of those times I just hold the book to my chest and I just live in that for a minute. That feeling. It's beautiful. Things I love about this book. Of course, we have the tunnel scene at the end here to look forward to. Oh boy, and you talk about some deep stuff. I'm learning from Sam here. Here she is, a senior in high school, teaching a 53-year-old man stuff, things. And these are the parts I wish I would have known in high school, but I didn't. I didn't know until when I reread this book again this month. I forgot. Okay, so it says Sam is telling Charlie that it's like you're not even there sometimes. Right? So someone needs a shoulder to cry on, but what if they need arms or something like that? You can't just sit there and put everybody else. Excuse me, I get ahead of myself. I'm going to try to use my words. You can't just sit there and put everybody's lives ahead of yours and think that counts as love. You just can't. You have to do things. Like what, I asked. My mouth was dry. I don't know, like take their hands when the slow song comes up for a change. Or be the one who asks someone for a date. Or tell people what you need or what you want. And, that hit me because, I mean, that's how I think I was. Sometimes I felt so invisible in high school and a lot of my life. But it's because it's like I wasn't even really there. I was just kind of in the background, waiting for someone to interact with me, to grab my hand and take me out to dance, to start up the conversation, to you know what I mean? It's like I for some reason, wasn't comfortable enough to show who I am. I didn't think anyone would appreciate it or like it. And as I think back, I don't remember if maybe I tried once and someone shut me down or embarrassed me. And so I pulled back, or I don't know. But I don't think that even matters. It's just once you realize that, you got to kind of get to that place where this is who I am. This is what I am. And I like me. And I'm going to show that to people. And it makes it real. And that's what hit me so hard in these couple pages here. She's talking about being what is real. I remember, let's see, where was this part? Oh, yeah, right here. So Craig not loving Sam, she said it didn't matter. Why would I care whether or not he loved me when he didn't really even know me? Right? We don't care if they hate or don't like the facade or the persona or the ego we present to them. If they're hating that, who cares? Because it doesn't even affect me. If they love that, I built this ego that I think the world will like, and they love it. Why don't I feel it? Why doesn't it mean anything to me? Because it's not real. It's not you. You were never brave enough to show, this is what I am. This is what I think. Here it is, naked. Love me or hate me. And you do that long enough, there will be people that don't care for you. That's okay. But there will be people that resonate with that. You will find your tribe. You keep putting it out there, you will find your tribe. You will find your family, your soul family. And that's what I love about this story. That's what Charlie did. Kept putting himself out there, right? Even by himself, he'd go to the dances. Even by himself, he went to the football game. And then he saw Patrick, nothing up there, and walked up and said, "You're in my shop class," and kicked up the conversation. He kept putting himself out there. Someone will love you. I already do. And I love the relationship we have here. You know, it reminds me of like The Voice, where they don't see the singer singing. Their backs are turned, their chair is turned. They don't see if they're, you know, heavy or skinny or black or white, pretty, ugly, any of that. It doesn't matter. They're listening at the voice, at the heart, at the connection to the song, the things that matter for what they're doing there. And that's what we have here. I haven't seen, especially the new people, any of your faces. That's why I'm always asking you guys, are you on Instagram? Do you have videos? I want to see you and know you and stuff, but I already do know you and where it counts. And I'm always reaching for more. And I don't think it's necessary. Many of you said, "Don't worry about it, Magus." You know me well enough. You know my heart. You don't need to see my face. You don't need my real name. Right here on social media, we'll have different names that aren't our legal name. And that's okay. I love that. I love you guys. That part that really hit me was when Charlie said, "I'm just trying to be a friend." And Sam says, "But you weren't a friend, Charlie. At those times, you weren't being a friend at all because you weren't being honest." Right? And like with Patrick, when he let Patrick kiss him and he didn't want to, but he let him anyway. Because he thought he was being a friend. That's not being a friend when you don't stand up and say, "That's not me. I love you, brother, but I ain't into that." He didn't do that. Right? And she brought up, like when Patrick was getting attacked in the lunchroom and he beat up those guys. But then he didn't stand up for Patrick when he was self-destructing, like at the parks, putting himself in those situations that weren't good for him. He wasn't present and available there. Let's see. Okay. This is pretty heavy. I love this story. The two brothers whose dad was an alcoholic. How do I want to set this up? Okay, stay with me. Hold on one second. Let me think how I put this. Okay, so the gist of this is, even if we don't have the power to choose where we come from and what's happened to us, we always have the power to choose where we go from there. And so his doctor told him a story of two brothers whose dad was an alcoholic. One brother grew up to be a successful carpenter who never drank. The other brother ended up being a drinker as bad as his dad was. When they asked the first brother why he didn't drink, he said that after he saw what it did to his father, he could never bring himself to even try it. And when they asked the other brother, he said that he guessed he learned how to drink from his father's knee. So I guess we are who we are for a lot of reasons, and maybe we'll never know most of them, but here it is. But even if we don't have the power to choose where we come from, we can still choose where we go from there. All of us have had bad things happen to us, and that's another good thing about this book. It makes you feel not alone. I think this is what Stephen Chbosky was trying to get us to feel. You're not alone. You're not weird. Yes, we're weird. We're all weird, and everybody's got something. And you're not alone, and we will get through this. I love this. Said, we didn't talk about anything heavy or light. We were just there together, and that was enough. You know, those of you that are still here on this channel, I feel that connection with you guys. I need you just as much as you need me. Us just being here, spending this time together. And it's enough. And it's good. I love this part. We got in Sam's pickup truck, just like Sam promised, and we drove to the tunnel. And this is about focus. This is when you get, it's taking control of our minds and not letting our minds control us, right? Not getting lost in thoughts and just letting our minds go anywhere. We make that choice to focus on the good. And he says, I thought about Bill telling me I was special, right? He could have thought of probably 30 kids at school that said something mean to him, but he's making a choice here. I'm going to stand up in the back of the pickup truck. I'm going to play my favorite music, and I'm going to think about Bill telling me how special I am. And my sister saying she loved me. My God, I loved in this book that relationship between Charlie and his sister. And my mom too. And even my dad and brother when I was in the hospital. I thought about Patrick calling me his friend. Remember at the party and he started crying because he heard out loud someone say, "This is my friend." Oh, this gets me in the feels, guys. And I thought about Sam telling me to do things, to really be there. And I just thought how great it was to have friends and family. He's getting his mind right. He's taking control of what he's going to think about, what's going to be important to him, what he's going to hold his focus on. So, but mostly I was crying because I was suddenly very aware of the fact that it was me standing up in the tunnel with the wind over my face, not caring if I saw downtown, not even thinking about it because I was standing in the tunnel and I was really there. And that was enough to make me feel infinite. A part of that whole, a part of the good, a part of life, not alone. And he's thinking family, my friends, the good music, the feel of the wind on my face. Things are good with me. And even when they're not, they will be soon enough. And I will believe the same about you. That's the last words of this beautiful book. Can I read it again? Things are good with me. And even when they're not, they will be soon enough. And I believe the same about you.